So we've already thoroughly discussed my least favorite Disney Infinity 1.0 playset. I think it's only fair we discuss my favorite. My favorite Disney Infinity 1.0 playset is the Lone Ranger playset, and it surprised me in a lot of ways. As soon as the playset opened with a bunch of bandits shooting pop guns, I immediately thought, oh cute, this is going to be the third-person shooter playset or something, but no, it's nothing that simple or expected. The story we're given at the beginning determines the premise of the entire game to follow. The idea is that Butch Cavendish has captured the railways and he's controlling the entire western frontier with it. And if we want to take the western frontier back, we need to take the railways back. This sounds like a pretty simple plot setup, but what you may not expect is that you do actually have to use the trains to deliver various goods to various places around the frontier in order to help the small town of Colby. The town of Colby and its surroundings are small and easy to explore, but the game's pacing and the clever layout of the locations makes the locations themselves feel more significant than just their real estate. After you run through some basic tutorial missions and the game introduces you to the train, you start to get a better feel about what the Lone Ranger playset is all about. The train runs in a loop around the frontier, and there are various supply depots that you need to activate so that when the train passes by them, it will pick up the goods and deliver them to the next location that needs them. Many of the side quests involve taking a certain kind of supply to a certain part of the town or some area surrounding Colby, but the great thing about all these train quests is that it also encourages the player to take on other quests at the time, since the train does not require their absolute attention. It will keep running regardless of what else they're doing at the time, and it will deliver its payload no matter what. You just press the go button and the train keeps going. Press the stop button again if you want it to stop. Because of this, I found myself making use of a mechanic in the Lone Ranger playset that I never did in any of the other playsets, which is being able to open more than one mission simultaneously. Multitasking in this game is a lot easier. Because the train always runs and always delivers supplies no matter what you're doing, you're usually running around doing some other quest while the train is delivering the main goodies. Not only do the train set and the side quests complement the Lone Ranger's open world playstyle, but it also makes the world feel a lot more like a world. The game is also very intelligent in the way that it gates progress. When you're just about finished with a certain area of the map or a certain type of goodie, the game unlocks a new type of supply for you to deliver and a new part of the map to explore. This process repeats for the whole hour of the game's length. The way the game encouraged multitasking meant I often had 2 or 3 missions open at the same time, and it also meant I might be doing multiple missions at the same time. For example, right here I'm making sure the train stocks up on cattle while simultaneously riding around with a golden skunk so I can carry it back to the nearby town to someone who asked for it. All of this encouraging of multitasking and open world exploration wouldn't be any good if the game wasn't, fun to navigate, though. And thankfully it is. Due to the nature of the train mechanics, the entire Lone Ranger playset is set up in a big circle, with 3 environments. There's Colby, there's the nearby marketplace, and then there's the camp, with a bunch of small stuff in between to do. Each of the 3 main hubs has its own missions, needs for supplies, and characters, making them all feel like different locations even though they're so very close to each other. It's a small, fun world that makes the most use out of its space out of any of the playsets. I was going to make a joke about it being Gun for babies, but Gun was significantly more difficult to navigate than the Lone Ranger playset, and I wasn't nearly as engaged while playing it. Even though the Lone Ranger playset doesn't have any particularly fun shooting mechanics to explore, and doesn't really have any game design beyond the open world exploration, it's a very cohesive game, and there's always more stuff to do, and it's always fun to multitask until, the game ends. And the Lone Ranger playset is short. It can be finished in just over an hour and completely 100%ed in about an hour and 30 minutes, but this is a great example of a point I always try to make about video games. It isn't really about how long they are, it's about how you pace them and what you do with the time you have. Even though one might say the Lone Ranger playset is shockingly short, I walked away from it feeling a lot more satisfied than I did playing a lot of 8 to 10 hour adventure games. And this is thanks to the Lone Ranger playset's cohesive world, great pacing, and the unexpectedly addicting and simple gameplay loop that the train mechanics offer. I had a really great time with it, and it's designed so well in comparison to the other open worlds in Disney Infinity 1.0, I have to wonder if it was even intentionally designed this well. Even though that sounds depressing, that's not really the point. The point is that the Lone Ranger playset kicks ass, and even though I played it twice in one day already, I'll probably play it again, and again, and again. Just like Cadash, and for similar reasons to Cadash. Except the Lone Ranger playset has a much greater understanding of open world design and how to make open worlds engaging to explore. So yeah, it's pretty fucking rad, and it's the playset most people probably didn't pay any attention to.